So it's the birth control's fault why there's toxic masculinity. Oh, I agree if you just pearly things. Ban birth control. We're working on it. Is it toxic to not want to date someone who's fat? We'll explore this in this Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. Before again, please subscribe, like, and comment to help this channel grow.
And it's
well, yeah, I think comparison's the thief of joy.
That's
which is 100% like because a lot of times even in the manosphere we talk about stuff like you can't really change. Like we'll talk about like a guy being short and how he can't get as many girls, but what are you gonna do? Change your height? Or like a woman's age? Like what am I gonna do? Get younger?
And
like,
I'm gonna be real. So my last boyfriend was a short king, and I was like, it didn't stop me from being in a relationship with him. But if I'm being honest, I wanted him to. I wanted a taller boyfriend. I wanted a taller boyfriend.
Why did you want a taller boyfriend?
And I know that's toxic masculinity, and I know that's all the.
How is it toxic? It's not. It's your biology. It's like it's not.
Most women want a taller guy because they're fat, and if someone's taller than them, they can still feel small in comparison because they want to feel small, as opposed to they could just feel small by weighing less and being the same height.
Toxic, and that's what like we call these things toxic that just are, and we try to say
but they're toxic to men because then short men are like I'm not good enough. That's why.
Yeah, but like
they kinda. I mean, if you're freakishly short, same thing of freakishly tall.
You can't call it toxic when it's biology. It's the same thing with like men being turned off by fat girls.
Yeah, but then it is toxic to the individual experiencing it. So a fat girl is like, I feel unattractive, I hate my life, I'm not worthy, I'm not valuable. Yeah. And so a short guy, that's the benefit. Is my last boyfriend, he was actually very
someone's got to be in the bottom of the totem pole. What are you supposed to do? There is no communism for attractiveness.
very comfortable. He was like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. But I was like, I also have like, that's it. I love being made to feel tiny. So I don't intentionally
See what I told you about women want to feel tiny? That's why they want a taller guy.
date tall guys. I dated him. He didn't like when I wore heels. And I was like, respectfully, that's a you problem. I'm going to wear heels. Like, if you're comfortable enough, you're comfortable enough. But I was like, yeah, I'd be a liar if I said I didn't wish you were taller and made me feel tiny.
I just don't really, going back to the toxic thing, I don't think it's toxic. It just is. It's like that's life, and life has some facts. Life has some facts that aren't pleasant. Yeah. And we can't, and if we just say, oh, it's toxic, like they shouldn't exist, they do exist.
Well, that's a really healthy ego. Yeah. I'm a big fan of ego. So if you're secure, that's it. My ex, he was like, I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
So we should accommodate and change the world to those without ego?
And he was like, I literally don't give a fuck. But he did give a fuck when I wore heels. But there are some people who are like...
So what you're saying is...
Like, well, because he can't do anything about it. So I might as well just like get jacked and make the most money he can and find a short girl.
Actually, they've got those shoe fillers for guys out there now. If you need it. You got some shoe fillers. So if you're a guy, if you're under 5'9", just find yourself some shoe fillers. They get them all the time. Which I feel like, well, I'm 6'1", so I'm like... Like, you're helping out the competition. What's going on? Okay, I have a question, right?
Until you're walking on the beach.
Right, like things that come natural to us.
Yeah.
Even if they're unpleasant truths.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we should label them toxic. What would you see as toxic behavior, and why would you label that as toxic as opposed to some of the things we've talked about?
Toxic gaslighting, like making someone question their reality. Okay. I'd say that's toxic.
It's a form of manipulation, right?
Yeah, like manipulation, lying.
Is manipulation not part of... Hasn't that been part of human history throughout? Could you not argue that trying to manipulate to get what you want in life is actually part of the human condition?
Oh, it absolutely is. You read the 48 Laws of Power?
I haven't, no.
Really?
No,
that's a really big... Yeah, it talks about like the tactics people have used over the course of human history to like get to power.
Right.
Yeah.
So essentially manipulation is almost... part of our biology.
Yeah, probably.
So why is that toxic then?
Why is it? I would say that behavior is toxic. Like one is just like a fact. One's a behavior. Like women are not attracted to short men. That just is. Yeah. One's a behavior and something you're doing. And you know, just because like it happens, like so has, you know, genocide. Yeah. Like there are power, you know, power can be used for good or evil. Not every form of manipulation is bad.
So I guess
is there a good form of genocide?
It's only toxic when there's a choice involved. So you can't help who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
So you can't help being attracted to tall guys.
Yeah.
So it's not toxic, but you can choose whether you want to manipulate someone. So that's toxic behavior.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you manipulate someone for their own good, is that still toxic?
You can choose someone. I don't know. I have to think about that more.
That's like to play devil's advocate.
But it's kind of like, I don't know. There's good and bad. You know what I mean? Like, there's manipulation tactics that aren't necessarily bad. But that's really
subjective in itself. Like, I'm a very anti-that's it. When I've had a relationship with like a gaslighter who like pretended to have cancer and genuinely ruined my life. But this is like to him, he was in the right. And there's a poem. Okay, this is so nerdy, but there's a poem, and it's about a Nazi who worked at Bergen-Belsen, like one of the
There goes monetization.
concentration camps. It's like that's objectively a bad thing, but he came home and he read stories to his children and he bought them sweets. So
you can be a bad person and still be good to your friends and family.
So to them, he's a good person, and so it's like that subjectivity of like, and so gaslighters will literally think that they're not bad, and you're there like to everyone else. And this really relates to people who stay in abusive relationships as well. And I have stayed in a lot of abusive or disrespectful situations where I'm like, if a friend came to me and went, "This is what I'm going through," I'd be like, Are you confused? You are being disrespected. Well, but then when I'm in it, I'm like,
well, it's because you're attracted. The same traits that make a man successful are the same traits that make a man evil. So you're attracted to the same thing. So it's like disagreeableness that like they tend to make more money, but if you're disagreeable, you also could go to prison.
And then it's like, if there are any good, successful men out there who are kind, hit me up.
Well, but the problem is you have to compete for those guys. So do you know the stat where if you ask 80% of women what they want in a man, they'll list 20% of men. So the reason we hate men is because we're all sleeping with the same ones.
Oh, and I know there's that statistic to be with like, I can't remember it. I think you told me it, and it was to do with like.
She smiles when we said we're sleeping. What are you not telling us? Just pearly things.
Like the top percentage of women want to sleep with the top percentage of men, but men are happy to sleep with men are happy to sleep with everyone. But
that's what happened with the birth control pill. So the reason actions have consequences normally, right? So normally, if we hooked up with somebody, we had a high chance of getting pregnant. So we would take a lot more time to make sure that person, vet that guy, make sure he's actually interested and he can actually help you with a family. He'll be there. He'll stay around for the kid. Nowadays, we have birth control that takes away the consequence. So women can sleep around with no consequences. We take away that part of biology.
So it's the birth control's fault why there's toxic masculinity. Oh, I agree if you just pearly things. Ban birth control. We're working on it.
Yeah. So now that even a smaller percentage of men get access to more and more women, where the rest of the men get access to none.
Or arguably, the consequence has just shifted. That now that women obviously, sleep around, whatever, you do you, the consequence of that is that it's near impossible to get commitment from the men that you truly desire.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So really, what's really toxic is our modern dating environment where you have the 80-20 going on, where 80% of the women chasing after 20% of the men. Those men get their pick of the litter, treat women like shit because women are abundant to them, so they have no need to treat them with any respect because there's always more women. And these women are just glad to have a chance at that successful guy, I guess. They're desperate. They want that. They can't help but want successful guys. I mean, you don't want to. Successful is a high value is what we were talking about here, not successful. Because that's not, you can be poor and successful. Anyways. I would say it's not toxic to not want to date someone you're not attracted to. There's so many negatives in that sentence. It's perfectly fine to only date people you're attracted to. There. It's not toxic masculinity. Women do it too. It would be a double standard if men couldn't. Men had to date fatties and women didn't. A lot of times you might see women dating a fat or ugly guy because maybe he's got something else she's interested in. His status, his money, something else. But guys are kind of mostly interested in a very small number of things. Mostly how attractive she is and her child rearing potential, which is closely tied in with age and health. So nice, healthy young ladies, what most guys, and attractive is just icing on the cake. But what does our boy say? Fit, feminine, submissive, cooperative. Anyways, if you like this type of content, leave a like down below, subscribe, share with your friends. Radically Moderate out of here.